welcome back to the Pawn Man channel. If you don't subscribe to my channel, please be sure you do so for regular videos about my life in the gold and silver business, as well as my travels across China. In this video, we got some great deals walking in, some wild, crazy interactions, as is tradition, and a little bit later, we're talking all about Rolex watches, the history, how to spot fakes, some of the most expensive ones ever sold at auction. So hit that subscribe button, and welcome back to the Pawn Man channel for another great episode. We talk about all kinds of things on here. We don't just talk about coins and history. We talk a lot about customer service too. And as somebody who has a pretty intense background in customer service, I pride myself both in my ability to do customer service and to teach people do's and don'ts. Because I have, well, it's a good story here. There's some really good lessons on display. So last week I got back from China and there's a local restaurant / bar that we like to have meetings at. We go there at least once a quarter, and it was myself and 2 of my employees. And we go out right away. We sit down at this bar. It's not that busy. And the server's kind of got like an attitude. Like he's just not very friendly. Doesn't really say much, kind of grumbles. Okay, well, I mean, I guess, you know, it's stressful to work here. Like, I guess I understand, although I'm thinking, like, you're kind of already being a jerk. So we stay for an hour and a half, and over the course of an hour and a half, this guy's attitude gets worse, and he keeps coming over to our table as we're talking about sales figures. Now, you know, if I say, like, the store did $3 million last year, that sounds like we're rich. You know, he doesn't, not that it's any of his business, but, like, he doesn't stay to hear we're talking about our margins like 8%. So he's just hearing pictures, little bits of it, and he's obviously thinking that we're rich fat cats, and I can see he's getting more upset, and his body language is like getting like very like hostile toward it, but he hasn't said anything. I'm watching this guy and I'm thinking like, this guy doesn't like us, and he's thinking the wrong things here, but whatever. After an hour and a half, we order another round of drinks. You know, I order a vodka Red Bull. He goes, "No, bro, no, you're cut off." What do you mean I'm cut off? "Bro, you're drinking way too fast. You've had 6 drinks in an hour and a half." I'm like, okay, I've had 4 and I can handle my alcohol, and I clearly don't seem drunk. Now, as a server or bartender, you cannot overserve people. If you overserve them, you can, I think it's state to state, but you can be held criminally liable if they go and do something. And I was fine. Like, I was not visibly intoxicated whatsoever. I didn't drive there anyway. I never drink and drive. So I'm like, I kind of get into it with this guy, and he's like, "Well, you know what? It's up to me, and buddy, you're cut off." And he storms away, and I'm like, all right, you know what, you guys, let's take our business elsewhere. So he comes back, "All right, what are you eating?" I'm like, "You know what, I just want the check." He goes and gets the check, and he comes back, he slaps it down, he goes, "You want boxes?" I'm like, no. I never do this, it's very Karen-y. But again, I am a big tipper. Like, I tip 20% usually, 15 if he did something wrong. But not this guy. So I tipped him $5 on 140, and I wrote $50 tip became $5 real quick. So I get up and we're walking out, and as we're about halfway through the restaurant, this guy comes storming after us and starts swearing at us. He goes, "All of you, get the out. You are not welcome here ever again. All of you are banned for life." Like, he throws us out so aggressively, and I'm kind of pissed, because like, this is just so unnecessary. And again, the guy earned a bad tip by being an asshole. Like, it's like, how's this happening to me? Like, what the hell is this guy's problem? The next day I'm in here and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, that wasn't cool. I'm calling the manager, because one, I would like to go back to this restaurant. Like, I'm sorry that this guy sucks, but love the restaurant. I've been going there since I was a kid. Great food. Like, I am not banned from this restaurant. So I get the owner's son, who's like training to take over the business, is the one I spoke to, and he was horrified. And he's like, "I am so sorry. Let me just do some investigating. I'll call you back." Cause like, he can't just take my word for it. So he calls me back an hour later, and he's like, "Yeah, I watched the security tapes, and I am mortified that happened to you." So he sent me a gift card for the experience, sent me $50, and the other guy got terminated. And I didn't advocate for that. It's just what he chose to do based on how not okay in customer service this was. Now, the lesson here, people should be tipping, but never ever swear at somebody in a restaurant. You cannot do that. That is so not okay. Customer service with restaurants is as delicate as it comes. You need to be top notch. The other lesson on display here, sometimes the best thing to do is nothing at all. Had that guy not come after us, had he not exploded with anger, he would still have his job. Yeah, just thought that was a really good lesson to share, a lot to take away from that. But just remember, you guys, keep your cool. And again, sometimes the best thing to do is nothing at all. Don't be the one to have the last laugh. Sometimes it'll bite you in the ass. All right, let's take a look. That's Movado? Okay.
The battery's dead in it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Movados is one of the only, there's no precious metal in them, but they are very desirable.
Okay.
You didn't buy a new, did you?
Yeah. It was a while ago, though.
Don't tell me you paid like $1,200.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, man.
Why?
You're not gonna like my offer.
Oh, God.
I'm not a watch expert per se. I do buy watches. I can, if you don't like my offer, I can refer you to somebody who might do better.
Okay.
I can actually refer you to 2 people. Do you know what model this is?
I do not.
07-1-1460. I would advise in the future, don't buy a brand new watch.
Okay.
Like, period. Okay, sorry, you're not gonna like this, but this is just my offer. I'd offer you $100 on it.
Okay.
And I can give you some number or some people that might do better than me.
Okay. Do they just not resell as much, or they just don't?
They just drop like stones.
Really?
In value, yeah. It's
Okay.
like buying a Range Rover. You know, it's cool, but then you gotta resell it. It's not cool.
Makes sense.
All right. They might do better than me.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Have a great day.
I have this. I don't know if you guys buy this stuff. Let's see here.
We have silver plate. It's $1 a pound. So it'd be like $2.
That's all.
That's it. Yeah.
fabricated.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. If you make use of it, I'd suggest using it.
Okay, so how do I tell it's silver?
It'll stay on the bottom here. So anything that just says silver like that, it's silver plate. I can put acid on it too if you want to see.
So like 9.25 is all silver, right?
No, it's plated silver. It's like 1%.
9.25 is.
No, that's sterling silver. So there's sterling silver, and then there's plated silver. Plated silver was something that they started doing at the turn of the last century to make middle-class people or like lower-class people feel like they had silver. There's a trace amount of silver, but unless it says sterling, right here in 925, it's plated. So this says silver plates right there. Yes, you got $2
So
there.
then can you tell me about this?
This is sterling. It's a lab stone synthetic. I give you $4 for this.
Really?
That's the silver value, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm mainly just buying for the metal value, and silver is
Right.
way cheaper than gold.
I'm not selling my rings.
Keep them, they look good on you. Here's $2.
Thanks.
Whoa. Good lord.
Oh my God, look how much it's rained.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to hang out here. God, look at this. Pouring cats and dogs.
And I don't know what this is.
Oh, this is just a toy item.
Okay.
Yeah, just for fun. Not immediately magnetized. It's not silver. This is. It's not. Okay, I'd be a buyer at $40.
Works for me.
Okay, I just need an ID. Oh, quick in and out. It's 56 grams. There's a few items that may not be silver. I was in a hurry. I paid them $40. That's fair. Make about 10-15 on that one. I just got all these back. I sent all these in to get graded. These are all from North Korea. They all have my pedigree, Pawn Man's collection. These ones are silver. These three, this one is the top population. There's nothing higher. Pangolin, that's pretty cool. I might keep that one. I don't know, I gotta stop keeping so many coins. These are all available on pawnmanstore.com. I might keep this one. This one's pretty rare. Sports and Cultural Festival, the cartoon cat. It's not silver. Check out pawnmanstore.com. We have a huge amount of graded North Korean coins. I don't do a lot with sports cards. I'm sure you guys know that. We will be covering it as a subject in an upcoming episode of Pawn Man. Definitely a huge staple of collectibles. I don't terribly like sport ball. Part of it is I am from Minnesota, where our teams always lose, always, no matter what. But basketball, I enjoy watching basketball. I don't follow it too closely, although the Timberwolves are pretty good. But did they win the championship? No, they got this close. No, it happens every year. Minnesota. But when it comes to a really good collectible, a great pop culture staple, something that I think is a solid store of my money over time, sometimes I'll buy a sports card. So I actually bought 2. And I have the rest on consignment from a customer named Avery. I don't like doing consignments, you guys. It's just kind of a pain in the ass, but he's local. He had a bunch of cards. It looks good in my showcase, so he gave me a bunch of premium sports cards. But I bought these 2. I'm buying this one for $100. This is a Kobe Bryant PSA 8 1996 Fleer card. And then I have this 1976 Topps OJ Simpson card, because I collect OJ stuff. We've talked about OJ plenty of times on here, so we'll skip talking about OJ. Let's talk a little bit about Kobe. Kobe Bryant, if you know anything about sports, you know he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Some people say he's the greatest. I personally think Michael Jordan was better, although I'm not a basketball expert. I will say I watched that Netflix thing, The Last Dance, and it was a different game in the 90s. It was a brutal game, and frankly, that was a better game. So just as a result of the game being more brutal, I think it was harder to play, and therefore I think the players of the 90s were probably better. If you know anything about sports, I'm sure you have more information and opinions on this than I do. Just at a glance, that's what I think. But Kobe is one of the greatest players of all time. He was born August 23rd, 1978. He was born in Philadelphia, and he is the son of a former NBA player, Joe Jellybean Bryant. He spent part of his youth in Italy, where he played a lot of basketball and soccer, as the rest of the world calls it football, before returning to the US in 1991 and concentrating on basketball. He excelled in high school. He immediately drew attention from the NBA, and in the 1996 draft, he was selected 13th overall by the Charlotte Hornets, but like seconds later, they traded him to the LA Lakers, where he stayed for his entire 20-year career. He was also the first guard taken straight from high school. He won 5 titles, 2000, 2001, 2002 with Shaq. He also won 2009 and 2010. He was the 2008 NBA MVP. He was also an 18-time NBA All-Star. He scored 81 points in a single game, the second highest in NBA history in a single game. That was his career high. His last game in 2016, he scored 60 points. He amassed over 33,000 career points, and he became the franchise's, the LA Lakers' highest point earner. He also won 2 gold medals with the US Olympics basketball team in Beijing in 2008 and in London in 2012. After his time in the NBA, he went on to win an Oscar. His short film, Dear Basketball, which is based on his retirement letter, won Best Short, so he's an Oscar winner too. Or I should say was, because we all know what happened. In 2020, the worst year ever got kicked off with his untimely death in a helicopter crash. Because of the tragedy that happened, although he was one of the greatest in the NBA, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, the fact that there's something dramatic that shortened his career and shortened his life and his legacy, just this shadow got cast over because of what a horrible tragedy that was. I hate to say it, his stuff is more collectible. So that's part of the reason why I bought it. I mean, you know, had this been, it'd be way more expensive. Had this been like a Michael Jordan card, I would have bought it too. If it's a sports figure, like even I know who they are and like I know how good of a record they have, that's something I'll probably want to keep. So this is something, I'm going to keep this for a very long time. I'm going to stick it away and sell it another day and hope that it matures beyond the $100 that I paid for it. And I will just end on saying basketball. So the sports I hate, or like I just can't stand watching. I don't like hockey. Like I'm bad from being from Minnesota. I just don't like hockey. I like the fighting. It doesn't happen enough. And I can't stand soccer. Because anything, or football, if that's what you want to call it, if you live outside of the US. Because any sport that goes for 90 minutes and they bump into each other, they breathe on each other weird, and they fall over like they got shot, and they're screaming and crying, and they're like, oh, I didn't get a card. And then they get up and like, I'm fine. I go better. And then it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for an hour and a half, and it ends 0-0 tie. That's not a sport. That's stupid. I hate soccer. Shout out to my friend Mike who loves it. All right, guys, this is something I have been wanting to talk about for a long time. In fact, I can't believe it's taken me 101 episodes, or 102, or whatever we're on. This is a subject people have been asking me to cover for a long time, and it's because if you hear the name Rolex, you know exactly what I am talking about. Rolex is one of the most recognizable brands in the world, right alongside McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pawn Man. Now, but it is a very recognizable brand. It certainly needs no introduction. But how did it become one of the most recognized and celebrated watches in history? Let's talk all about it. It didn't start in Switzerland, believe it or not. It started in London in 1905. A German businessman named Hans Wilsdorf and his brother, Alfred Davies, they founded Wilsdorf and Davies. And this is a company that specialized in making high-end and precise watches. At the time, wristwatches were considered delicate and impractical for men. Most men preferred pocket watches. They were a lot more durable, they kept better time. But Wilsdorf believed that the future was actually in wristwatches. As I hold up not a Rolex, I'm wearing an Omega Seamaster. It's still a nice watch, but. So these two, they sought to create high precision timepieces. In 1908, Wilsdorf registered the name Rolex. This name was chosen because it is easy, it is short, it rolls off the tongue pretty well, it can be pronounced in any language, and the name, this is my favorite part, it fit perfectly on the small watch dials. Rolex became the first wristwatch in history to have the Swiss certificate of chronomatic precision. This is an award, it was usually given to marine chronometers and pocket watches, so a wristwatch winning this was unheard of. And what this did, this stapled Rolex as having accurate precision in timekeeping. Nowadays with digital, we don't really think about that, but again, back then, this really mattered. Enter World War I, which caused some disruption. Great Britain was subject to incredible tariffs and luxury good taxes, and as a result, they relocated Rolex to Geneva, Switzerland. And this move in 1919 made Rolex a truly Swiss company. And in 1920, the company was officially renamed Montrese Rolex SA. But Rolex, it wasn't just about luxury and accuracy, it was about pushing the bounds of innovation. The Rolex Oyster in 1926 was the first truly waterproof wristwatch. And it wasn't just waterproof, it was also dustproof. And as a promotion, Rolex gave one to swimmer Mercedes Gletzi. In 1927, he swam across the English Channel wearing one. And because it survived the journey, it proved Rolex's durability. Great marketing stunt. In 1931, we got the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. This was the first self-winding automatic wristwatch that used a rotor system. This breakthrough eliminated the need to manually wind a watch. And going forward, this became the standard for all automatic watches, completely revolutionized wristwatches. In 1953, the Rolex went to the top of Mount Everest. 2 explorers climbed all the way to the top wearing Rolex Explorers, again, proving its durability. This established Rolex as not just a luxurious company, but the ultimate adventure wristwatch brand. That same year, in 1953, we got the Rolex Submariner. This is the first wristwatch that you could dive up to 100 meters and it would still work. This also was worn by James Bond in the early Bond films, cementing it as a cultural icon. Then in 1960, they did something really crazy. They built a watch to withstand the deepest ocean dive, which is something that Stockton Rush can't say. They built the Trieste submersible and they attached it to a submarine that went to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. This is the deepest point in the ocean, and it survived. Going back a little bit, in 1954, they started making watches for pilots. They created the GMT Master just for Pan Am pilots. And this allowed pilots to track 2 time zones simultaneously. It was a very handy innovation back then. So why are Rolexes so collectible? Cool company history, but what makes them so expensive outside of just the fact that they have proven they are durable and great watches? Number 1, you have limited production and high demand. Rolex carefully controls their production. They don't just mass produce stuff. Number 2, their designs are just timeless. They're beautiful. If you're wearing an old one, if you're wearing a new one, it doesn't matter. You're wearing a Rolex. Number 3, as far as investments go, you absolutely can make money. You do need to be careful. The watch market boomed in the pandemic and then it kind of had a dip. Rolex has dipped a little bit in price, but they do seem to be starting to come back. If you have certain vintage models like the Paul Newman Daytona, I mean, those are going nowhere but up. And finally, Rolex's unmatched durability, their pedigree, their prestige over time. They're built like tanks. They're very well made. There's no such thing as a cheap, crappy Rolex. Owning one signals success, luxury status. Some fun facts you may not know about Rolex. Rolex uses its own foundry, unlike other watchmakers. Rolex watches are also tested in pressurized water tanks. Each Rolex also takes hundreds of hours to build in hand assembly. One watch can take a year to build. And this is good for their business because the demand outweighs the supply. Even if they wanted to start mass producing them just based on how they make their watches, they couldn't. Rolex also uses its own synthetic lubricant for the movement. It lasts twice as long as regular watch oil. And the last interesting fact, they have a secret facility. It's not really known to the public what exactly goes on there, but is only for testing the most extreme conditions for their watches. I don't know. Something tells me they're building a watch for space if they don't already have a prototype. Now, some things to be aware of. Counterfeit watches are a problem, and what's very interesting, Rolex is super aggressive with their proprietary rights. Every video that I've made that features fake Rolex watches, if I show one, the video gets flagged on social media. Rolex will have it taken down. I stopped doing fake watch videos, which is too bad because I just want to educate people. Whenever a fake Rolex watch walks in here off the street, I always try to buy it. I give the person like $1 to $5 just to get it off the street so that somebody doesn't get burned by it. Here's some stuff you need to know, some basic stuff about Rolex watches so that you don't buy a fake. Number 1, they are the most counterfeited luxury brand in the world. By far. There are millions and millions of fakes out there. What I do, I have a local watch dealer that I work with. He is an expert. I am not. I consult him. The early fakes were meant to fool novices. Collectors could easily spot them, but then they started getting better. In the 1990s, counterfeiters started using better quality, better steel. They really started to hone in on their game and they started making some pretty convincing fakes. One thing that they would do, they would use Japanese quartz movements to mimic the sweeping hand, as it's called. A Rolex, the way that it moves is art. When you're looking at a watch like that, it moves so smoothly. And so if you see any kind of that's not a Rolex. Fast forward to the 2000s, you have what are known as the super fakes, and this is the stuff that is plaguing the market today. These super fakes are using high quality Swiss movement, genuine sapphire, sometimes they even have real gold in them. A dead giveaway, it's gotta be 18 karat gold. If it's 10, 14, it's not legit. So here's some signs to spot a fake. Counterfeiters are gonna use cheaper metals. They're not gonna be as heavy as a real Rolex. A real Rolex has some weight to it, even if it's stainless steel. So if it feels too light, it's not legit. You also have the Cyclops lens, the thing that is over the date that magnifies the date. It's 2.5 times magnification, and sometimes on fakes, the bad ones you can tell right away, the good ones are closer, but make sure that it's 2.5 times magnification. Also, the case back. Most real Rolexes have a solid case back with no engravings. Fake Rolexes often have see-through case backs. They often will come with Rolex stickers. Not legit. The inner bezel engraving is another thing. They started laser etching that in 2002. If it's missing that, it's probably not legit. On dive models, you also want to be looking for the triplock crown seal. So like the Submariner, the Sea Dweller, there's a small rubber gasket inside, and counterfeiters will forget to include this. So when you unscrew it, if it's missing that or there's a low quality fake on it, again, not real. Also, we've done this before on this channel. I call it the clap test. Put it on, clap your hand. If it pops off, it's got a weak clasp. The bracelet is low quality. It's not legit. Real Rolexes also have a glow of the lume. This is a high quality luminescent material. It'll glow brightly for hours. Fakes will use a cheap lume that doesn't glow for very long at all. One more thing, there's serial numbers on a Rolex. If it's poorly engraved, if it just looks like it was like stuck on there, if it looks like you could easily peel it off or it's damaged, don't go near it. And finally, if the price is too good to be true. Nobody's selling a Rolex for 200 bucks. Where can you avoid getting a fake? Go to a legitimate dealer, a real watch store, not a pawn shop. Oftentimes pawn shops will buy fakes without knowing it. Head to a Rolex dealer or a licensed watch dealer, somebody with a great reputation, somebody who's willing to take a return or who's willing to at least stand by what they're selling you. If you have somebody that says all sales final, no refunds, they're sketchy, the price is too good to be true, probably not somebody you want to do business with. Also, if I were you, I would stay away from the internet. There's so many fakes out there. And finally, we'll cap this off. Here are 5 of the most expensive Rolexes I saw sold at auction. Number 5, the Deep Sea Special. This is one of the few watches that survived a dive to the bottom of the ocean from 1960. This was sold in 2021, and it fetched $2.1 million. Number 4, the Rolex GMT Master. This one was owned by actor Marlon Brando, and he wore it during the filming of Apocalypse Now, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. Marlon Brando's engraved signature is on the back. That went in 2019 for $3.5 million. Number 3 is the Rolex Bao Dai. This was owned by Vietnamese Emperor Bao Dai. It's a rare yellow gold Rolex. It features a black dial with diamond markers. And in 2017, that went for $5.1 million. Number 2 was the Rolex Daytona Unicorn. This is a one-of-a-kind white gold Daytona. It belonged to a private collector. In 2018, that fetched $5.9 million at auction. And then the number 1, Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona. This is the 1968 Rolex owned and worn by Paul Newman. It is the holy grail of Rolex watches. In 2017, it was sold for $17.8 million. I would think if it went up for auction today, just because auction prices are getting so crazy on one-of-a-kind items, I would think it would go for $30 million today. Really, truly a incredible collectible to have. What do you guys think of Rolexes? Do you have any? Tell me about it in the comment section. Have you ever bought a fake? What's your all-time favorite watch? I love talking watches. I'm not an expert on them, but I'm always fascinated to learn more. They don't come in here too often, but as I said, you guys, be wary of fakes. It is the most counterfeited brand on the planet in terms of luxury goods. If a deal seems too good to be true, use common sense. Use online resources to determine if something is real. Watch videos, talk to people, become immersed if you're gonna buy something like this. You definitely can find good deals out there. That's not to say that those don't exist, but you do need to be really careful. I would strongly recommend staying away from online vendors if you're gonna be buying a Rolex. Well, guys, that will do it for this episode. Once again, please subscribe to this channel if you don't do so. Follow me on social media. Head to pawnmanstore.com to join my bullion club to get precious metals from me or all the other great stuff that we have for sale at St. Louis Park Gold and Silver. And with that, you guys, I will see you back here for another great video.